What's up, guys? Here with you with FC Wonderkid. Here with my guy, Pedro. How are you?
Fine, mate. What about you?
I'm good, my guy. And as you clicked in the thumbnail, you know the topic that we're going to be talking today. And it's the top 10 most expensive players in Primeira Liga. Transfers in Primeira Liga, not players, because there's going to be a bunch of discussions in terms of values and transfers. So, are you ready, Pedro?
Sure thing, mate. Let's do it.
So, at the 10 and 9 position, there's a bunch of transfers that cost 40 million here in Primeira Liga. So, I'm going to say the players that cost 40 million, and we'll just put them in the 10 and 9 bracket, okay, Pedro?
Okay, sure. Let's go, man.
So, Ederson to Man City, 40 million. Joao Mario from Sporting to Inter, 40 million. Hulk from Porto to Zenit, 40 million. Witsel, 40 million. Falcão, 40 million. And then you have the one that's different, because for me, it was a huge bet by Wolves. It's Fabio Silva for 40 million. So, what were your thoughts on all these transfers that I mentioned here?
Okay, first of all, just to mention, Primeira Liga has been producing some serious talents towards other top-tier leagues, and that's super positive for a country like Portugal.
Yes.
For the economy as well.
True.
It's really important because mostly clubs don't receive the fees that other clubs in major leagues receive. So their main source of income in Portugal is transfers.
Yes.
Okay, and the more transfers like this occur, the more credibility the Primeira Liga will have.
Yes.
And the better it will be to develop Portuguese football. Okay.
Very true.
So yeah, to start on the transfers you just mentioned. Okay, you said Ederson 40 million for Man City.
Yes.
I think that was a hell of an acquisition for Pep Guardiola's side. Okay. And if you think about it, 40 million for a goalkeeper is a lot, okay? Usually
at the time it was a good investment.
Yeah,
true.
Usually goalkeepers, it's the position that has the less amount of money invested on. Usually.
Yes.
Okay? So the strikers usually are more hyped, they're more inflated, the price, okay? The goalkeepers, it's the opposite. It's the other way around.
Look at Mendy from Chelsea. He cost less than Ederson, like that's
and it was nowadays. Ederson was like 5-6 years ago.
But
okay?
that ball passing ability, though.
So yeah, for me, Ederson is the goalkeeper Guardiola needed. Okay, because Guardiola requires, it's mandatory for him that he has a goalkeeper that is able to play with his feet, and almost nobody does it better than Ederson.
True.
Okay.
True.
So yeah, Ederson for me was like the best acquisition Pep Guardiola could make at the time for the goal, and yeah, for me it was like, although it was a huge amount invested. It was like 6 years ago, 40 million. So nowadays it will be like 50 to 60 million due to inflation. And it was a goalkeeper, okay? I'll say again, goalkeeper transfers usually are way lower than other field player transfers.
True.
So it was a really, really risky move, but it paid off. So yeah.
Benfica is really good selling their players, right?
That's
like
true.
Ederson, 40 million. And I'm mentioning here Fabio Silva for the same 40 million.
Yeah.
So what do you think can happen with Fabio Silva in the future?
So Fabio Silva was more of a recent move, was 2 years ago.
Yes.
40 million. So it was, I think it was really risky from Wolves to try and to actually snatch Fabio Silva for 40 million. Because in my opinion, he didn't prove anything in the Primeira Liga. Okay. In the major
The Primeira Liga, yeah. He scored some goals at a very recent age.
At the senior level, he didn't prove anything. Okay.
True. Compared to what he did in
he did for the youth squads, but not at a senior level. And man, you cannot spend 40 million just guessing. Okay.
It was a bet by Wolves. It was a bet.
Yeah, and it might still pay off. Okay. Fabio Silva is still young. There's no doubt about it. But for what he has shown in the Premier League, I mean, he scored like, what, 3-4 goals?
Well, consider...
And like 2 were penalties. Come on.
Yeah.
For a guy who costs 40 million, even if you're 19, 20 years old, if you cost 40 million, you should make an impact straight away. Okay? So yeah, for me, Fabio Silva was kind of a big disappointment. I was expecting more of him, even because of our FM days, our football manager days. We were so hyped to see Fabio Silva in action in a senior squad. Yeah, it was just
for me, like Fabio Silva, I remember him being 15 years old, playing against Sporting under 19. He scored a goal with his right foot, his left foot, and with his head. A perfect hat trick at 15. And the year after, he just kills it in the youth league. So, in terms of youth football, Fabio Silva, in my mind, is one of the best strikers I've ever seen in youth football. And I had FB Wonderkids. I'd see youth players. Like, seeing Adeyemi too. Fabio Silva was at that level of expectations too. So, for Wolves to get him, they'd have to overspend. But I agree with you. He's disappointing me until now. But I do expect a comeback because physically, Fabio Silva looks big time. He looks big time. And he's working out. You can see it. He's getting a body to play in the Prem. So I don't know if it's at Wolves that he'll be the best player. But just mentioning this, Wolves signed Jimenez for 38 million before, like, a couple of years back. So... like, they signed a good striker at the time here in Primeira Liga. So, Fabio Silva, it might not have worked out, but Jimenez did at Wolves.
What a transfer.
Yes.
Jimenez, yeah.
So, number 8 now in the most expensive transfers, Nuno Mendes. Okay, Nuno Mendes, left back from Sporting, going now to PSG, sealing the deal, 38 million. The PSG paid right now, and the loan was 7 million plus Sarabia. That has extra costs, but let's just put the 7 million. So, yeah, Nuno Mendes to PSG.
Let's round it up to 50 million. Yeah, for me, it was an amazing transfer by PSG. Personally, I don't think it was the best move for Nuno Mendes.
Where do you think he'd be the best, Nuno Mendes?
Premier League, of course.
Where to? City.
I don't know.
They're getting Cucurella.
I would say City, yeah, because City really needs a left back. And under Pep Guardiola, he would just explode. We've seen what Guardiola has done with the likes of Cancelo.
True.
Just imagine him doing the same with Nuno Mendes on the left, okay?
True.
So Cancelo is right now at the moment, probably if not the best, one of the best fullbacks in the world. Fullbacks, I say fullbacks because he's one of the best right backs and one of the best left backs as well.
For Portugal, he's special. He is special.
He's been one of the key players, and it was a shame that he wasn't in the Euros last Euros.
Very fucked.
He was very missed.
Against Germany. If we had Cancelo,
Robin Gosens wouldn't have it so easy.
I agree with you. Traumas, but keep on going.
But yeah, I was saying, okay, Nuno Mendes. Yeah, for me, he has Premier League potential. Of course, I have no doubts that Nuno Mendes one day will become the world's best left back. I have absolutely no doubt.
I believe in it.
If he's not the world's best left back at the moment.
At the moment. Theo is better right now.
He could, okay.
Theo Hernandez.
Yeah, but he's in the discussion. He's in the top 3 for me. Okay? So,
bold.
But either way, I have no doubts that he will be the best one. The fact that he went to PSG will just retard that process, in my opinion.
I agree.
Because he's not. If he was at, just imagine, if Nuno Mendes was at Man City at the moment, he would have triple the views he's having right now.
True, and people
twice the people would be watching him play.
True,
and twice the people would be complimenting him. He arrived, and he was nominated right away for the Liga Team of the Season. Okay, a 19-year-old player.
And playing for Portugal.
And with the league we're talking about a Team of the Season that doesn't even have Neymar. Okay, Nuno Mendes is a serious baller, guys. He's fast. Yeah. He's great defending. He's strong.
Good cross.
He knows how to read the game. He has a crossing ability that, for me, surpasses like almost all of the left backs that are out there.
But you're gonna say Trent level.
No, because Trent is a right back, but left back wise, I think he's the best one crossing the ball.
I like Cucurella. I mentioned him.
Yeah,
but Theo too. Theo is very good.
But I think Nuno Mendes for me is really more complete. He's the complete type of player. That's the player you idealize for a left back. You know?
And what's the best thing about this? He's still 19, and we're both Portuguese, man. So we will have Nuno Mendes for a bunch more years, 10, 15 years.
Yeah,
hopefully.
but as I said, for me it's a shame that he didn't go to the Prem because that will retard this process. Not technically, not his ability.
I think he's going to go bold with PSG.
Yeah, not his ability. I'm not questioning his ability, but for people, for the viewers.
Okay, yes. I feel. Okay. So from the outside view,
because nobody watches Ligue 1 games from outside of France. Okay.
But what if PSG wins the Champions League?
That's different because people watch PSG in the Champions League.
Then he's in the team of the season.
But if Nuno Mendes was in the Prem, he would be watched week in, week out by everyone around the world. Okay?
Do you think if Nuno Mendes went to the Premier League, he'd be in the team of the season at left back?
I have no doubt. I have absolutely no doubt.
Bold! That's bold. I believe in him.
Who do you put ahead of him in the Premier League?
Robertson.
Okay, Robertson. Andrew Robertson really does have the work rate.
I believe in Tsimikas too. He's coming up.
Tsimikas. Yeah, but I mean, work rate wise, Robertson one of the best, no doubt. But I think Nuno Mendes is just another sauce.
But Cancel would be at the right if he'd be at City. So, people, put down below your thoughts about Nuno Mendes. We always like a good chat about Nuno Mendes here at FC Wonderkid. And let's get now to number 7 with the most expensive transfers. And it's James Rodriguez, 45 million. I know the Nuno Mendes could go to 50, but 45 directly. Porto to Monaco, James Rodriguez. That was what unbelievable moments James Rodriguez has.
That was a Luis Campos deal, okay? Luis Campos recently signed for PSG as an advisor. And he well proved it at Monaco. When he signed James Rodriguez, one of the upcoming hot prospects at the time, he anticipated the likes of Real Madrid that actually come to snatch him like 1 or 2 years later after that World Cup.
The goal, like touched the chest.
Yeah, it was amazing. Amazing volley. Yeah,
one of the best goals in a World Cup history. No,
one of the most iconic for sure. And yeah, James just was an unbelievable player. He just had everything required of that a pure number 10 should have. Yes. And plus, he was left-footed, so he has that kind of magic that left-footed players have, okay?
Very true.
What didn't he have, okay? He had an amazing shot. James Rodriguez had an amazing shot. Amazing passing ability. His vision was completely different from the average player,
and he played at winger in Porto.
That's true.
And then he goes to cam position and
expecting... Yeah, he actually started as a winger. Yeah. And then he moved to the center. And just a bunch of possibilities flourished for him. Like, he was able to see the pass seconds before the opponents. Okay?
Very true.
And that is key for a player that plays at the number 10 position. And James Rodriguez just had that ability, and he did it better than anyone.
Completely agree. The potential of James was elite, okay? So we all expected him to be in that Ballon d'Or contention one day, but we saw magnificent moments from James Rodriguez. And I mentioned fast him at winger. It was Falcão, James, and Hulk. And that front trio for Porto, they sold the 3 for 125 million. And at that time, to sell 3 players for that amount, that was really good money considering they were in Primeira Liga. So Porto, they were doing proper business until they had that phase that it didn't go so well, and Benfica was just going bold in the transfer market.
Yeah, but James Rodriguez, actually, I think I will go bold on this one. And I think he was the best number 10 I've seen playing in the Portuguese Primeira Liga.
Melhor que o Aimar?
I think so. Because Aimar didn't come here in his prime, okay?
And but Aimar was special.
Yeah, he was, but I still prefer James Rodriguez, okay?
That's o Felix foi especial. Felix was amazing.
Yeah, but I consider more...
João Felix, that season was really...
Okay, it's like a second striker, false 9.
Benfica won the league.
Not midfield.
He saved Bruno last season with Benfica. I'll be honest with you. If João Felix hadn't... But we'll mention... Wait, we're mentioning Felix already.
We'll go there.
Yes, so... Mention James Rodriguez, now a fellow Colombian, 6th, Luis Diaz, that was sold for 45 million plus 15 variables. Let's put 47, because that's what's on transfer market. Luis Diaz to Liverpool. Quick thoughts. Bargain deal, right?
Yeah, I mean, considering nowadays and all the inflation that's going around the world, I think Luis Diaz was actually one of the best possible deals that Liverpool could ever make, considering the quality of the player that we have, the immediate impact he caused in the Prem. He just started playing right away. He started scoring. He started assisting. Luis Diaz is an absolute menace up front. Okay. And when you have a player like Luis Diaz for 45 million, man, that's change. That's pocket change. That's pocket change for Liverpool. And I wouldn't think twice when acquiring a player of such talent as Luis Diaz by 45 million. I think it was like the best possible deal.
And we all know Liverpool have an excellent wage with contract with years with Luis Diaz. They made that investment before seeing that, before other clubs could see the talent that he has. And Bayern Munich will spend big with Sadio Mane, 30 to 40 million, and they will spend big with the contract. And Liverpool locked for 45, and they have an excellent contract for the future with Luis Diaz. So, what a deal. I completely agree with you. And the front trio next season of Liverpool with Salah, Luis Diaz, and Darwin, with Jota coming off the bench and rotating, that is elite levels. I don't know about Firmino, but Firmino too there. Elite. Origi to Milan. But let's go with the most expensive list, continuing on. Top 5 now. 5th, Eder Militao to Real Madrid. 50 million.
Yeah.
50 million.
Eder Militao had a rough start at Real Madrid.
Completely agree. Yes.
I don't know what happened. Maybe he was nervous. But he Eder Militao turned it around, okay?
Yeah.
I think now he's a key player at Real Madrid. He was a starter in the Champions League final.
Still think he's got something to prove in terms of at Real Madrid to be a legacy type player. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
but he's a great role player right now there.
Yeah, he's playing the part. He's still young. He's 21, 22.
No. Eder Militao, he's much older. 24, really? 20. Yeah, much older. Yeah.
Maybe I was thinking when he was
sold.
When he was sold to Real Madrid, maybe he was 22, 23. Okay. But anyways, Eder Militao is a fast player. He's a defender with technical ability, ball passing ability. And he seems to, when he's on form, he seems to be everywhere, okay? And we saw that at Porto. And that's why Real Madrid invested 50 million in Eder Militao.
Yes.
Because he has the potential to be one of the best. He hasn't reached it yet, but we had glimpses of it this Champions League edition, okay? He was key. And I think that Eder Militao doesn't get the praise he deserves for the season he had this year. And we'll see for next season if he continues the momentum. It will be interesting to watch.
I like him. For me, he had a tough start. I completely agree with you. And with Eder Militao, just like with Alaba too, that's because I compare both. I'd say Alaba, I edge with Alaba between the two. But comparing both is greatness for Eder Militao. It's a great level to have. But what I love about both is Eder Militao could play at right back, and Alaba was a left back before he became a center back. So both center backs from Real Madrid are very adaptable. They're fast, they're strong, and Eder Militao can be better with his feet, but he's good with his feet.
And that's good to read the game as well.
Yes.
When the right back or the left back aren't there, they just go and make their position, okay? And that's solid to have. That's a plus.
Carvajal gets injured, or Ferland Mendy gets injured. You were saying Alaba goes there.
But it's not even injuries I'm talking about. Like even during the game, if the fullback is up front and they have nobody at the back, he can do both. He can go cover the right back, you know.
Definitely, the know-how. Definitely.
Yeah, and that's a huge plus to have, because it might only happen like once or twice during a match, but it can make the difference between conceding a goal or not. So that's a huge plus to have.
So Eder Militao next season. Let's see what happens now with Rudiger coming in. Alaba, Eder Militao, Rudiger. Real Madrid is gonna go bold with defenders, as it seems, next season. So top 4 now. The big boy players, the most expensive. Bruno Fernandes to Man United, 63 million euros. Okay, Sporting. What were your thoughts with this deal?
I mean, Sporting is not like Benfica in the sense of bargaining power. Okay?
Negotiating, yes. Benfica
just beats Sporting in bargaining power, and that's why I think Bruno Fernandes at the time was an excellent deal. Okay, we were talking about a player that was
But you said at the time though. So right now, it's a good deal.
due to inflation. It's different right now because if you consider 60 million right now at the moment, I would have tried and sell Bruno for like 75 to 80.
But Luis Diaz just left for 45.
It was different. Porto was in need for the cash, and maybe there was.
You Sporting now? Sporting was.
Yeah, it was, but I think the United really needed Bruno Fernandes, and Liverpool was not in the same situation with Luis Diaz.
So 63
because Liverpool
million.
could say, okay, if we don't get Luis Diaz, maybe we'll stay with Mane just one.
So
one more year.
63 million Bruno Fernandes to Man United. Fair deal, bargain deal, or a great deal?
I think it was a great deal for both sides.
Okay.
I think, as you said, as you mentioned, Sporting was really in need for the cash.
Exactly.
And they needed to sell Bruno Fernandes because maybe if it didn't have if it didn't happen, maybe they had to sell like 2 or 3 players to make up to those 60 million, you know, because at the time Sporting squad wasn't that valuable, wasn't as valuable as it is today. Okay, now easily you have 3 or 4 players that are worth more than 30 million. At the time you just had Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno Fernandes was key. Bruno Fernandes scored 25 goals per season and provided 15 assists.
Unbelievable. He surpassed Lampard, I think.
He was. I think in a season he scored 34 goals, and he surpassed Lampard as a midfield with the most goals in a season for a club.
So that shows what he was doing at Sporting. He was carrying Sporting at the time.
Bruno Fernandes, it's elite levels. Of course, it's a different league. And he also had a few. He had a few pens as well. Some of them were taken by Boldest, so he didn't have all the pens. But I reckon that he was the best midfield to ever play for Sporting, Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno
Fernandes was the best midfield to ever play for Sporting.
In Sporting history.
Okay, I didn't live in the 1950s, but
got to go bold.
But yeah, in the last 20 years at least, I think Bruno Fernandes. He was even the best player who played in his prime for Sporting, Bruno Fernandes. I know, no doubt about
For the Portuguese national team, now we can have a talk with that midfield. But I agree with you, for Sporting, what a legacy he had. And I just want to say this too. Sporting sell Bruno Fernandes to Man United for 63 million. And for me, that was the beginning of the end of an era. It was the end of an era for Sporting. And the beginning of the rebuild with Ruben Amorim. And it gave a fresh start, a fresh plate for Ruben Amorim to do his thing, and it worked out.
That's true. They needed the cash to restructure that.
And Bruno Fernandes, we all know he likes to have the ball. He likes the team to play his way. And Ruben coming to Sporting, I think it just worked out really well.
But Alex, just listen to this. There are some haters that say, "Oh, if Bruno Fernandes is so good, why did when he left Sporting, Sporting won the league?" And that's why that's due to what Alex was saying. Okay, so he just released a huge inflow of cash for Sporting. He just made that happen. So with that cash inflow, Sporting were able to acquire players such as Matheus Nunes.
Keep Palhinha another season, maybe, right?
Keep Palhinha, yes. Who else was crucial? Go get Paulinho in the mid-season. Okay.
That was bold. That was bold, though.
I mean, he was able. He left, okay, but he just made it possible that Sporting next year had a super strong squad.
True,
okay?
But I understand where people come from too with that, because Bruno, like, we still have to see Bruno being that guy winning a league with a team. You know, being one of the catalysts to win that trophy with that team. That is a doubt that people have with Bruno Fernandes.
And it's legit for sure. Bruno Fernandes is missing
there's a reason why Ederson is on the wish list for Erik ten Hag too, because maybe Bruno Fernandes needs that competitiveness for that position. But the number 4 position, Bruno Fernandes to Man United. And now, number 3, another team from Manchester, but now staying with another team from Lisbon too. Ruben Dias going to Man City for 68 million. The leader at the back for Man City. And in my opinion, in the future, this is going to be seen not as a bargain, but as a great deal by Man City. Because he's going to be a legend. He's going to be a legend for Man City, in my opinion.
Yes, I don't see Ruben Dias leaving Manchester City. I see him staying for years.
Company
he's a new
vibes.
type company. Yeah.
Yes.
And I think he also has some physical resemblances with company. Okay, as a center back.
Okay.
He's strong. I mean, I think he's faster than company was. But he also has a mentality that also resembles a lot with company. He has that leadership. Okay.
Yes.
He has those leadership capacities
Mm-hmm.
that company just was able to move the team. Okay.
Very true.
Company was able to move every single player of the team mentally,
Very true.
and that makes an impact in the game.
Ruben can do that too.
And Ruben is a very good player communicating.
We felt the Ruben absence here in the Nations League game. For
That's
me
true.
against Switzerland, if Ruben Dias was
He's a leader
there,
at the back. Ruben Dias is a leader at the back.
fuck.
And actually, he was giving an interview like a month ago,
Okay.
in Portuguese with
Mhm.
with
Okay.
the Brazilian channel.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. And Ruben Dias at that interview said that his first time at Man City, it was really hard to just get to know his colleagues and
Mhm.
get into the team dynamics because everybody thought he was a pain in the ass because he was always talking.
True.
And I actually was at Benfica, not at Man
Mhm.
City. Everybody was like, "Who's this kid? He's always talking." Like, just shut up.
Luizão at the time.
Luizão was triggered because he was like, "Who's this kid? He just comes in. He's 18 years old and he's bossing people around."
Mm-hmm.
But and he told the press, "I didn't do that on purpose. It was just like being me.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't control it." And that tells a lot about Ruben Dias. He's a player that needs to have that leadership at the
True.
back.
True.
He needs to be a leader, the leader of the defense.
And Ruben comes to Benfica when he first starts. A lot of doubts are put upon him. And centre backs, young centre backs here in Portugal, get a lot of eyeballs straight away on them because we don't have a lot of centre backs right now for the future of Portugal. We do coming up, okay, but not a lot were talked for the last 3-4 years. So when Ruben comes, he delivers too. We're all very happy here in Portugal, in my opinion. And we needed that. Winning the Nations League too for Ruben, I think, was very important. Like being the guy in the Nations League, that was great for him. And now at City, the impact he had straight off the bat is unbelievable.
And we are talking about a Man City side who had Laporte.
But they needed him badly. It was Koulibaly,
yeah,
and
no.
even when they released the news that they had signed Ruben, they had Koulibaly instead of Ruben Dias in the website of Man City because they were expecting. So if Ruben Dias and Koulibaly level, love it.
Yeah, but we're talking about a team that had in their ranks John Stones and Laporte, and
He's
nobody
better.
was expecting that Ruben Dias would just bench one of them straight away.
I was 70 million. Come on.
I wasn't expecting, honestly, and it was quite of a good surprise for me. And actually, nowadays, I can easily say Ruben Dias is a top 3 center back in the world.
Shh, bold. Rudiger, Van Dijk, Ruben Dias.
Not in that order, but
Those three.
yeah, maybe those 3.
We
At the
can do a
moment,
start bench sell, people. Put that below if you want to see it.
that's actually a good one.
But yeah, Ruben Dias, 25 years old right now. The number 3 transfer to Man City, which in our thoughts, it's a really good one. So now, number 2, quite recent. We have a ton of thoughts on this one, but Darwin Nunez to Liverpool, 75 million transfer plus 25 in variables. Quick thoughts on this one.
Okay, so
Quick, because we go bold always.
I'm
on
kind
this
of divided on this one, just because I know for a fact that one of the problem with Darwin Nunez, one of his problems, is mentally. Okay, it's a mental problem, mental issue. We've seen on his first season at Benfica that he was not happy, and as he was not happy, he was not delivering. He was
the
not
social
performing. And
media, the
he arrived
he
with a lot of pressure because he cost 25 million for Benfica.
And he delivered.
And for a Portuguese Primeira Liga team to pay 25 million for a player, that's huge. For a second division player, that's huge.
Weigl came to Benfica for 20.
Even if he was a first division player, paying 25 million for the Portuguese standards is huge. The pressure is huge. They're expecting you to deliver.
Mm-hmm.
And he arrived. He had constant pressure from the press, pressure from the rivals itself, and he seemed a little bit clumsy. He was not. He was not confident. He was not confident, and you could see that.
Mm-hmm.
Second season, everything changed.
Yeah.
Mostly when Jorge Jesus left.
Yes.
I think that was also a big factor because
Huge factor.
for sure that Jorge Jesus and Darwin didn't get along.
I'm not gonna say for sure, but
for sure, Bryce. He left, and Darwin Nunez started delivering immediately, okay?
Well,
he was a different kind of player from the moment Jorge Jesus left. I never expected Darwin to perform that way. And for what he has shown in the second season, I agree that he deserves that transfer for that kind of value to Liverpool. But for what he has shown previously, I think that's a risky deal, and we'll see. I think Liverpool was kind of pressured with the Haaland move from Man City. I think that also had some impact because they needed to sign a big-time striker, and I think that had an impact. But we'll see. We'll see where Darwin goes.
I like
how Darwin performs.
I like how you're mentioning the first season of Darwin, because even disabled his social media account at the time. No Instagram Darwin, I remember. And yes, it is true. Mentally, there is doubts. But I'm going to be honest, seeing that first interview from Darwin at Liverpool, mentioning trophies non-stop, I believe that the squad mentality... Luis Diaz is talking to Curtis Jones and Harvey Elliott, and the language is football. So I believe that the language of winning will go to Darwin Nunez now that he's at Liverpool. So I agree with your doubts, but I believe that he will surpass them because he's got the talent. Luis Suarez even said it, like, this kid is special. He recommended him 2 years ago to Barcelona. So Barcelona would have loved to have gotten or Darwin or Julian Alvarez right now. So we think it's a good deal, Darwin Nunez to Liverpool.
I think
So now, number one most expensive transfer in Primeira Liga, João Felix from Benfica to Atletico de Madrid for 127 million euros. Bold numbers.
I mean, you were saying that Porto a few years back sold Rames, Falcao and Hook for 125.
Yeah.
João
Felix.
Benfica managed to sell João Felix for that amount. So 3-1. I think he's still...
That is very true, yes. For the same amount that...
Different times, but...
Very true.
Still. I mean, I think that Jorge Mendes had a touch on that deal, okay, because I think that he was overvalued at the time. I still think the price they paid was he was overpriced. João Felix was overpriced at the time. And I still believe he hasn't proven himself the way he was supposed to. I think he will. He has showed glimpses of what he can do this season.
True.
There were times at this season where he constantly delivered. He scored there was a time he scored 7 goals in 6 matches.
Yes,
I think
he delivered big time in a given moment.
But I think he was injured.
He got an injury. Yes,
that's his problem as well. He's been getting injuries every season.
And do you reckon it's because he's at Atletico right now? I think that must have something to do. He played with a broken foot reportedly for 6 months. João Felix.
The training sessions must be rough for João Felix at Atletico.
Come on,
with Diego Simeone. But I believe he would be better off in another club with another type of game style than at Atletico. But nevertheless, I think it was positive for him to go for a club such as Atletico, because maybe it gives him another side of the game that he hasn't seen before. Okay, so he is able to improve and complete himself as a player, because he gets to see other parts of the game that he didn't have.
A bit like Vitinha with Porto, I mentioned in the past too, with Sérgio Conceição. He had to change a lot his style of play too.
I think if João Felix leaves Atletico, he will leave a different kind of player, an improved kind of player.
If he goes to Man City, people will say he's a world-class player immediately. Immediately, in my opinion. People will be shocked with how good he is and what he shows at Atletico. So I agree with a lot that you said, but I have to say this too. 127 million at the time was spent by Atletico because they had Godin, Juan Fran. They had big contracts going. Griezmann left for 120 million too. Huge vacancy.
They wanted to go for the all-in.
They went exactly the all-in, and Atletico is not renowned to sign the biggest transfers like Real Madrid and Barca is. And to attract that player, they had to offer that big-time value. And Jorge Mendes, being one of the best agents in the game, knowing the leverage that Atletico has, he went bold with those numbers for Benfica. And yeah, João Felix leaves for that number. And a lot of reinvestment is done to Seychelles. So Seychelles keeps on performing well, winning the youth league. So it was a good deal for both sides, definitely. No, for Benfica more than Atletico. But I believe Atletico, if they sell him, they won't lose too much too. If they sell him.
No,
so
yeah.
I believe João Felix to Benfica. It was a João Felix to Atletico de Madrid. Has his doubts, is a great deal. But it was a good deal considering that they had to fight to get him with every single top team in Europe. Even when he signed, they were saying Sergio Ramos wanted him at Real Madrid. They were saying, why did we get Luka Jovic and not João Felix? Those were the reports. So, just going to say worthy mentions, okay? Not players that we mentioned here in the top 10. Jimenez, I said. Lindelof to United, 35 million. And I have another one here. In 2007... to Man United 2, Ederson for 31 million in 2007. Man United spent for this Porto midfielder, which he was. He was bold. He was very talented.
He actually had hair. He wasn't bold. I'm kidding.
But what a player he was at Porto.
Yeah, that's true. But he's a contender for top 3 flops in the Prem.
It can be, yeah. It can be.
Probably one of the worst.
Maguire or Anderson?
Both
to Man United?
Yeah. Man, what a shambles. I think that due to the money that was involved, Maguire was a little worse. And due to the part he has in the squad as well, because Maguire came to be a captain.
True.
Or at least came to be one of the pillars of Man United. And so I think it's a little bit worth, and considering it costs 90 million euros. I mean,
true. And just a quick
question. Yeah, Anderson for 30 million at the time just shows the potential he had at the moment. They wanted to join a super team with Anderson, Cristiano, Rio Ferdinand.
Imagine if Anderson had reached the Cristiano level. He could have.
He had the talent. He had the talent. Different position, but yeah.
And just here at the ending the video, who next do you want to mention? One player to mention to do a big transfer to be in this top 10 list in the future. Who would you say?
Guys, maybe most of you are expecting me to say Matheus Nunes, but I won't. Don't sleep on Manuel Ugarte. Guys, don't sleep on Manuel Ugarte. I think
after the World Cup,
this World Cup will be the boom in his career.
Yes.
He's so good. And he doesn't get the credit for how good he is.
I agree.
And I think he will be a starter for Uruguay in the World Cup already.
That's bold. So Bentancur, Valverde, Ugarte.
I think so.
Bold.
And just because Ugarte is so complete. Manuel Ugarte is one of the most complete players in the Primeira Liga, and I think he can really make an impact in a top tier league. I really do. So guys, don't sleep on him. I would say he would be transferred for a fee that will surpass the 40 million euros.
I think he'll surpass definitely the fee that Palhinha goes, because
for sure.
He'll definitely surpass Palhinha. So that's a great mention. And you said Matheus Nunes,
but he's not the same as Palhinha.
No, different players.
He's a number 8, I think.
But can play 6 too.
He can play
modern day 6.
Yeah, because he has the ball playing ability. I can go forward with the ball.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So mentioning here, you said who next? Matheus Nunes. Mention fast. I'm going to say Vitinha, Fabio Vieira, of course, both from Porto. I don't know if Fabio Vieira for sure deserves to be in the top 10 list, but Vitinha, the rumors are 40 million too, so he might just be edging to be in that top 10. And the player I want to say for people to watch out is Roger Fernandes from Braga, okay? I know this kid has a world-class potential in him. And if Braga, I really think Braga, after selling Ricardo Horta, they have to show and believe in a youngster. And Roger Fernandes, being 16, that is a hell of a bet. And they can do it. And I believe Roger Fernandes is the future of not just Braga, but Portugal too. Excellent player.
We also have David Carmo from Braga. He can also make a move in the
25 million
the coming days.
Yes, I think he'll leave this summer. So people, put down below any player any player you think will be the next to be in the top 10 of the most expensive in Primeira Liga. And do not forget to like this video and subscribe to FC Wonderkid if you enjoyed to see more content like this. Thank you, people, for going bold.